guys, HardlyBriefDan here with episode 39 of our Unity Make an RPG series, and we're going to continue doing our stat overhaul. I've actually already worked on a lot of the code. I've recorded this originally, and it got pretty long and kind of boring, if to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show you what I worked on, show you a few things I learned, and show you some things that can be used in your projects instead. So first off, last time we worked on, or I showed you guys a stat system that I created in Excel, and it was basically where I added 2 new classes and then 4 races that you could choose from. And we worked on a base character race class. I'm going to go ahead and open that up in MonoDevelop. We go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see better. And let's see, where are we at? Base character race. And if you remember last time, we had a function here. This function basically was used to create a what do you want to? I'm trying to figure out what I want to call it. Used to create a class, or a race, but we didn't need that, so I got rid of it. And then doing in some efforts, I guess. Well, while playing around in this project and another project of mine, I realized something. That these public getters and setters right here, they're shorthand, which I like, but they're not actually they're not actually looking at these. They're not pointing, if you will, to these things. So like if you create a base character race and you try to look at race name, it doesn't show needs a name. It shows null because nothing's there. Like I said, it's not referencing that. So if you remember in our base character class that we wrote a long time ago, well, we have these public getters and setters. I'm going to go ahead and copy one and bring it into our race class over here. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to show you, or I'm going to go ahead and actually retype all these. But basically, I'm actually going to do this for the race name. But basically, it's because I want this to be here. I want this to show up. I don't want it to be null. If there's an error in our code later on, I want it to see that it needs a name or something. So I'm going to go ahead and copy. Or I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And I'll try to explain it one more time what I'm getting at. So actually I'll go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about. We have this base, I created this base character class thing up here where this is a script called test GUI. I'm in an empty scene, real quick. I'm in an empty scene here. There's just a camera. And there's this test GUI script that we wrote a long time ago. You might have it, you might have deleted it. If you don't have it, just go ahead and create a new script, call it whatever you want. Basically, I'm just using it to test a few things out to make sure everything's working, everything's kind of connected, all of our inheritance and stuff is working correctly. So basically what you can go ahead and do is we have this base character class here. I'm actually going to change this to base character race. So we have class 1. These debug statements won't work. So we have class 1 here, and we're going to go ahead and set it to equal to a new base character race. And then we're going to go debug.log, and we're going to look at class 1 dot name, race name, and we're going to go debug.log class 1 dot race description. I think it was. Yep. Okay. So now in our base race, I haven't changed the description. It's still the same. So what you're going to see is that our race name is going to show up now, but our description should be null. Fairly positive. Looks like we have a few things. Oh, this needs to be a string. There we go. Looks like it's it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and drag this test GUI script onto our main camera. You see it's attached here in the inspector. Going to go ahead and press play, and just like I thought, we debug, or in our debug logs, we have we're telling it to show our race name and show our race description, but in this case, it doesn't see this. It's showing null because this shorthand version of our getter and setter isn't referencing this private variable that we created, and that's the whole purpose, in my mind, of using a getter and setter is to access a safer way to a private variable, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead, and we actually don't need these bools because they're going to be automatically false at the start. So you go ahead and delete those. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this public string reference here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy race description. Going to go ahead and delete this setter and getter here. I'm going to copy this race description. Going to control S to save. And the reason why I don't really care about having these as private variables is because we're changing them in our races, individual races. That might not be the best thing to do, but it's okay with me. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to just look at our class 1, and we're going to pick has luck bonus, and then we're going to go debug.log class 1, and we're going to do has stamina. So this should just show up as false, and then we should have our needs a name and needs a description in our debug statement. Go ahead and clear that. Go ahead and press play, and we have, there we go. So now it's referencing that, and I'll show you, just to prove it even more, that it's changed it. I'm going to go ahead and change something. I'm going to go ahead, needs a name, exclamation points. Right? Control S to save, jump back into Unity. To show you that it's referencing it, go ahead and clear that. You'll see it up here. Needs a name. Perfect. Alright, so now that we have that working, we change those two things. You can go ahead and Control S to save all that stuff. I'm going to exit out of that, and I'm going to jump into Unity and show you the races that I did. Or no, not the races. The races are all the same. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and show you the Archer class and Rogue class and show you how I changed them. And I'm going to go ahead for good measure and make sure we have the base character class. Alright, first things first. I added new stats, correct? And I added luck, I added overpower, mastery, and charisma, and I got rid of resistance and agility. Okay. The other thing I decided on is I want every base character class to start out with the same exact stats. Now, if you remember last time, we have these stat bonuses, and that's where these are going to come into play. But first off, remember, in my game, at least, the character class starts out with the same exact stats. In that case, these are the stats. 12 for stamina, 10 for endurance, 8 for strength, 8 for intellect, 10 overpower, or 10 for overpower, luck, mastery, and charisma. And go ahead and move this. The other thing here, I added 3 public enumerations. Okay, these enumerations are for our main stat bonuses, our secondary stat bonuses, or second stat bonuses, and our bonus stat bonuses. Basically, the way I have it set up, I said the character classes each can have a stat bonus, and then our second, each class can have a main stat bonus. Each class will have a second stat bonus, and each class has a bonus stat bonus. Hard to say. So I created enumerations for these, and then I went ahead and made a public getters and setters. There are no privates for these because you don't need them. We're not referencing them. We're just, because these are going to be empty at first, it's okay. We're going to set them in the class itself. And this is what I did. I went ahead in our Archer class, I deleted all of our stats. I said, let's get rid of that. We don't need it. We don't need to manually state which class starts out with which stat with a number. So what I did is I just set a main stat, a secondary stat, and a bonus stat using our enumerations. If you're not doing this, don't worry about it, but this is the way I'm going to handle this. Basically, I want to, in a script I'm going to create later, when we calculate stats and stuff, I'm just going to refer to this. I said if whatever the main stat is, give it a 12% bonus, or whatever percent I end up going with. That's the idea. So I got rid of the stats, and I added our main stat, second main stat, and our bonus stat here with enumerations. That's what I did for our classes. So I added the 2 classes, a rogue and archer. And actually, I think I didn't change. I didn't. I was copying and pasting from the mage, and I forgot to actually change these. So I'm going to go ahead and archer let's say we're going to do a skill full range attacker. I don't know. And then a silent, we'll call it, let's say, a silent and deadly assassin. Works for me. Rogue. Alright, so I just changed the character class name and description for the 2 new classes I added. The only thing I changed up in our base character class again is I added the public getters and setters for our luck, mastery, and charisma. And I added these enumerations, and I added 3 public getters and setters for our main stat bonuses. Now, the next thing I did, well, in our test GUI, we can actually go ahead and make sure this works, right? We can go ahead and private base character class. We'll call it class 2. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. We'll go base character class 2. We'll go class name, and this is not what we're going to do. We're going to actually make a, let's do archer. There we go. So we'll go name. We'll do description. We'll do main stat. Second main stat. And I'm going to go ahead and copy paste this. And we're going to get to the last thing, which is our bonus stat. So what's going to happen? When I go ahead and press play, we're going to create a new archer class. And it's going to say it's an archer. It's going to give us its description. And it's going to show us what its main stat, second main stat, and our bonus stat is. And it's going to show that, that we're actually assessing the accessing that stuff properly. Go and press play, and we have an archer, a skillful range attacker. His main stat's intellect, his second main stat strength, and his bonus is mastery. Perfect. All right, back in mono develop. I'm going to control S to save all this stuff. We don't need it anymore. The next thing I started doing was I went through and I changed some of our stats. So if you remember, we had this script called base stat item. It had the stats that we had. Well, I went ahead and got rid of agility and resistance and added overpower, luck, mastery, charisma, and they're all down here in our public getters and setters. I also went through and finally corrected my stamina typo that I had all the way down here and in several other scripts. Basically, I changed it in one script and I kept getting errors, so I just went back and changed it everywhere where I misspelled stamina. Sorry about that. I know it probably drove some of you guys absolutely crazy. Anyways, in Unity, I went ahead and changed that, and I believe that is all I changed. Besides potion types, I think, let's see. And I'll get into potion types in just a second, because that's where I did some work, and I learned something new, and I wanted to teach you guys because it's pretty helpful. And we can actually apply it into this script as well. Okay, first off, let's talk about something that was brought up to me, a question a few of you have brought up, why do I use so many if-else statements? And to be honest, I use them because I didn't know. Usually I use them because I don't know a better way at the time to do something else. And in one most super obvious case, I do it here, and I've done it in I've done other spots, is, for instance, this weapon type. We're choosing a random weapon type out of a few choices. Well, this isn't crazy. It's not hard. It's not long. It's not huge. It's pretty easy to understand what's happening. And it computes it pretty fast. But there's a much simpler way to do this. Okay, and it's probably smarter. It eliminates, I don't know, it's just 12 lines of code down to like 1 or 2. So I'm going to show you I'm going to show you that, and you guys should apply it to your projects wherever you have something like this, because it's just better. So I was guilty of this in our create a new potion script, and this is the new code that basically eliminates all those if-else statements. So the first thing I did when I started changing all these stats was I looked at potions. And in potions we had several types. We have 11 types. Or we didn't have that many, but we've up to 11 now. We had one for health, one for energy, strength, intellect, stamina, endurance, agility, and resistance with the other ones. But I added, so since we added more stats, I went ahead and added them in here. I got Overpower, Mastery, Luck, and Charisma. There's one in here that was called Vitality. I changed to Stamina. So go ahead and make sure you do that. And so now that we have this enum, when we were creating a potion, we said, okay, well, choose a random value, and if that random value is 1, then it's a health potion, just like we did over here with the weapons. And that, like I said, is okay, but it's probably not the most efficient way to do it, and it definitely doesn't look professional, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and explain to you how we can do it the new way. The new way basically eliminates all those if statements and creates 2 lines of code. I have 3 here because I want to show you that we're creating the type, but I actually don't need that because I do it up here. Actually, we don't need these 2 strings because it's going to display it anyways. Control is to save. So anyways, what we're doing here is we're creating an array, and I call the array potions, and then we're using this enum system.enum.getValues. Okay, and it's basically what this line of code here is, that it's getting all the types of values that are in potion types, and it's storing it in this one-dimensional array called potions. It's storing all these values, so it's storing all 11 values from our base potion enum here, so health, energy, strength, intellect, all the way down to charisma. It's storing all those into a new array called potions. And then what we're doing to randomly pick one is we're getting a random value with the range of this is another way we can change this, but basically it's getting a random value from 0 to 11 because I know I have 11 potion types. It's getting a random range there, and it's basically pointing to that in our potions array, and then we're casting it potion type. And the reason why that works is because these, when you label these health to charisma, these are actually have number values associated with them, and I think it goes 1, 2, 3 all the way down to like 11, but it might start at 0. I don't remember exactly, but these actually have an integer, a value associated with them that's not that string. And so that's what this is doing. This is getting a value, and it points to a position in this array that we created up here, and then we cast it to get our actual potion type. So I'm going to go ahead and control to save. I'm going to jump into Unity, and I'm going to show you how this works, or show you that it does work, excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and grab our create new potion script. I'm going to drag it to our main camera, and you can see it here in the inspector that's on there. And if you don't remember, we set up the script so that everything's created in the start function. So it uses model behavior, so we can go ahead and drag it to as a game object. So go ahead and press play, and here we go. We've created a potion. It has a description and item value, and it's an endurance potion. Right? So now I'm going to prove to you that it actually is choosing randomly. I'm going to go ahead and press play again, and we'll get intellect. So you see, it's actually choosing a random one. Stamina, speed, luck, health, endurance, mastery. I could do this all day. It's actually choosing a random value, and I'm not going through all those if-else statements. It looks a lot better, a lot cleaner, more professional, and that's what we're trying to do, I think, in this series. So this is what you do. These 2 lines of codes. Hopefully you understand kind of what I was saying. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on one here. We're going to go ahead and copy. I'm going to copy this, and we're going to jump down here and do it with our weapons, because this is the same idea. So instead of potions, we're going to go call it weapons. We're going to get, instead of base potions, we're doing base weapon types. So base weapon. Instead of potion types, shoot, we have dot weapon types. Yep, okay. So now we're storing all the weapon types from our enum into this new array called weapons, and now we're going to create a new weapon. So we'll go new weapon, and its type is going to be weapon type. We're getting from base weapon. This is our cast now, and we're going to cast it from base weapon types. The array is called weapons, not potions. Get values, fine, and our random range is going from 0 to 7, which is okay. So now we can go ahead and delete all these if-else statements. Actually change this to 7. And we're actually going to change this in a second. but go ahead and Control S to save. We can get rid of this random temp because we don't need it. Control S to save, and again we can just drag and drop this onto our start function. Excuse me, because we're inheriting from model behavior, so we can use start function. So we don't actually need to create any GUI or anything to access this. We're just debugging it to the console. So go ahead and Control S to save. Gonna go into Unity. I'm gonna drag our create new weapon script onto the main camera. Click the main camera up here in the hierarchy. I'm gonna click off create new potion, and we're gonna create a weapon. There we go. We got a dagger, a shield, a staff. Oh, we got an issue. Okay. So this issue is coming from our random generation. Basically, it's because we're going to go from 0 to 6 and not 7. It generated a 6. And the way to stop this is actually perfect basically we're going to look at that array length. So we're going to go from, I guess we'll go from 0 to array, what was it, weapons dot length. And I'm going to go ahead and Control S to save, jump into Unity, and that should, bam, okay, we get a bow, a pole arm, a bow. You can tell everything's changing too because our values are changing. Pole arm, a sword, a shield. You see it's randomly generating things, which is perfect. And now, since we changed this weapons.length, and so we're going from 0 to .weapons.length, what's happening is you can go ahead and add thousands of weapon types, right? Thousands and thousands of weapon types. And this random.range 0 to weapons.length will always pick a value that will be within the range of weapons you have, types of weapons you have. So, Control S to save. We're going to go back to our create potion and do the same thing. We're going to go from 0 to potions dot length. So what this means is this just means we're going from 0 to 11. And actually I can go ahead and show you debug dot log, and we'll do length. Excuse me, potions dot length. So this potions dot length is going to output a number, and it's going to be the length of this array. So Control S to save, go into Unity, click off create new weapon. I'm going to go ahead and click on create new potion. I'm going to press play. And you can see that our potion.length is 11, which is what I had there before, but now I can go ahead and add, let's say we'll go add a new type of potion. We'll call it money, or extra gold. That'd be a fun potion. Go ahead and add extra gold, press S to save, going to go into Unity, and now when I press play, this potion, this 11 should change to 12. And it does. It's registered that we've added another potion. It knows it. It's stored it in its length, and I didn't have to edit multiple lines of code. I just had to add a new potion. So that's basically what I wanted to cover in this video. We've changed our weapon script. We've made it more professional. Maybe it's even faster. I'm not really sure how fast those if-else statement calculations are. We've changed up the potion script. We've added our 2 new classes, and we fixed up our races. So I hope you guys liked the video. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. I saw all the feedback for the live stream, and so I'm going to go ahead and start putting together a sort of maybe schedule for the live stream when I'll do it. I'm definitely willing to try it out for a couple times, see how it goes. I'll either post a video, or maybe I'll post just a message to everyone saying, hey, I'm going to be live streaming from these times, and most likely it'll be continuing this series and working on this series. And I'll make sure to make highlight videos or something, so that if you can't watch the live stream, you're not going to be behind. You'll see exactly what we're doing at all times. But anyways, hope you liked the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.